Good morning, y'all. It is currently 12:36 p.m. December 12th, 2024, and I'd like to tell you a little story about a couple dreams that I had this morning. The first dream that I had, I woke up. Well, first things first, I went to sleep at around 4 o'clock in the morning last night. That's when I went to bed. It took me like at least a half hour, probably longer, to fall asleep. But I woke up at 9 in the morning, and the only thing that I remember is being at Walmart. And in the context of the dream, I remember that I was on my way home from work and I stopped at Walmart for something. And I remember that it must have been like storming outside, but I don't remember actually driving in a storm. Like, that's just the context of my memory in the dream. Because I remember thinking there must not be anybody at Walmart right now. Like, if there's anybody at Walmart, I'd be surprised because of the conditions of the road right now. Like, I just remember thinking that. But the only thing that I actually remember doing was I was on my way to the door, like to leave Walmart. And I think it was dark outside. I could see it was dark through the doors. So maybe that's where the false memories came from of me driving home on my way home from work, because it was dark outside. So if I'm at Walmart and it's dark outside, I must have been on my way home from work. And I remember the only person that I saw was an employee, and he was cleaning up a mess on the floor. It was a sandwich mess. It looked like somebody like opened up one of their subs, like, you know how Walmart has at the deli has those prepackaged subs. It looks like somebody opened one of those and like spread it across the floor. Like, they splat it on the floor and then put the cartwheel on it and just like ran it across the floor. That's what it looked like. And somebody was cleaning that up. And I woke up at that point. And then I fell back asleep eventually. I don't remember what time, but it took me a while to fall back asleep. And the next dream that I had is a lot more vague in my memory, because when I woke up, as I was trying to remember the dream, I almost fell back asleep, and then I like lost the memory of most of the dream. But what I do remember is I think I started out the dream in bed, so it might have been a false awakening. And then the next thing I remember is I think it was like a family gathering or something. I had guests over because there was a car in my driveway, but it wasn't my car. I think it was either my mom's or my brother and his wife's car. And I was carrying food containers out to put in the back of their car, and they were already inside their car. And I couldn't carry it all in one trip. I had to like leave some on my porch. So I left something in their car. I went back to get more. And then when I went back to get more, I turned around and they dipped. Like, they were like on their way out my driveway, leaving me behind. And I just remember being like kind of pissed off, like, what the hell? And I was like offended, and I felt abandoned and confused, and it kind of hurt my feelings, I'm not gonna lie. And then that's when I woke up, and that's all I remember from that dream. I know that there was a lot more that I forgot about, though. And you may have noticed that I missed a couple days, so I'd like to give you a little update about the dreams that I had Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. The dream that I had Monday, I didn't really feel comfortable talking about in a video. Let's just say I had another lucid dream. I don't think I was really lucid, but it was a dream about me being lucid. And if you watched my first video, then you know the goal that I set for myself. Let's just say that I kind of failed that goal. So I'll just leave it at that. I didn't feel comfortable making that video. And Tuesday kind of annoyed me because I woke up from one dream and I was trying to remember it, and as I was trying to remember it, I fell back asleep into another dream before I wrote down my first dream. So when I woke up from my next dream, it like got all jumbled up in my brain, and I was like, and I didn't even feel like trying to write it down. It was only until I came home from work that day I straightened some of it out in my brain. And the first dream I vaguely remember, this was Tuesday, December 10th. The only thing I remember from my first dream is being in a living room. I think it had to have been like a family member's living room. Like it's a trailer that I'm vaguely aware of, but I don't go there very often, so I don't remember whose living room it was. That doesn't really matter though. And there was like, I don't know if I said this already, but it was like a family gathering, and I just remember there being a lot of family members around, and there was one baby that was around at one point. It was like a 1-year-old, like they could walk, but not quite a toddler, like in between a baby and a toddler. And then the next dream that I fell asleep into, the only thing I remember, there's a few things that I remember actually. I remember being outside of a house. It's this like big ass like mansion. And I was trying to get inside, and I was a tiger for some reason. I could see myself in third person as a tiger, and a family member answered the door, but they wouldn't let me inside, because who in their right mind would answer a door to a tiger and let the tiger inside? But she didn't like freak out, like scared, like, oh my god. She was like, you mischievous little guy. Like, she thought I was cute. Like, oh, look at the cute little tiger. And I was trying to like roll over and play cute for her like a cat. It didn't work. And she turned around and went to go back inside, and suddenly the door was open, so I followed her inside, and she turned around like surprised at me, but didn't like freak out or anything. So I went inside, and at this point I remember thinking to myself, so am I just going to keep being a tiger, or should I just be myself? And I think I started being myself from that point, because I kind of forgot that I was a tiger. And then the only other thing that I remember from that dream is like the environment. It was this big house. It kind of reminded me of like something you'd see in a movie where there's like these gang members. Like it's a big enough house for like a gang to live in it. Like you could tell there was a lot more people living in it, and it was kind of run down. It was kind of like a big ass crack house is the way that I thought of it. And I remember going in a room, and there was this guy in the room that in the context of the dream, he was my friend, but I don't recognize him. Like I don't know who he was. And I could see a doorway into another room, and it was a bedroom, and there was this Mexican guy and a midget sitting on the bed. Sounds like a punchline to a joke. And I asked the guy, why is there a midget and a Mexican in here? Just two random strangers. I didn't say that specifically. Specifically what I said is, why is there a midget and a Mexican in here? And he looked at me with a straight face, being completely serious, and just said some random Spanish gibberish. And I thought it was so funny. Like, I just laughed, and I like hit him in the chest, and I was like, I love you, dude. And he's like, I love you too. Like, he seemed a little confused. He didn't understand why it was so funny, but I thought that was the funniest thing. And I think that's when I woke up. And then, yesterday, Wednesday, I didn't remember much. It wasn't really worth making a whole video about. I just remember being at work, and I was driving a forklift at some point. I had to get something from like a super high shelf on the forklift, and that's all I remember. So that's a little update on the last few days. And yeah, I think that's all. Good night and sweet dreams.